So a quorum being present, this meeting of Special Service Area Number 61 Commission is called to order. Under guidance of the city, I'm required to report that pursuant to the applicable law and my determination that attendance by remote means is necessary because an in-person meeting is neither practical nor prudent due to the declared public health disaster caused by COVID-19. This meeting is being conducted by video conference. This meeting is also being recorded and will be made available at the Special Service Area website shortly upon completion of the meeting. So that is the required announcements that we have to make at the very beginning. The first order of business is approval of the minutes, and then we'll go to comments from the floor. So the minutes were circulated yesterday. Hopefully everyone got a chance to look over them. Does anyone have any corrections or revisions to the minutes? I had one correction or revision. If we can come up with the information, Ramon, there is a sentence at the beginning in which we report on the minutes where it says the minutes are recorded and being posted on the website. We need to list what website they're being put on. I went looking for them this morning and could not find them. So I don't know if they're on my Hyde Park, or the Hyde Park Cares, or the Downtown Hyde Park, or the SEC website, but that needs to be in our minutes. So if we can come up with that web address.
Okay. I did put that question to Brandon, so I will update the minutes with that information.
Good. Yeah, before
it'll be the Downtown Hyde Park one, George.
That's, I sort of figured that. So do you know if they're up there? I couldn't find them this morning, but I got sidetracked and didn't have a chance to look carefully. Do you know if last month's have been posted?
I'm seeing a nod from Jared. Yes, they have been.
Okay, good. Jared. Oh, yeah, I see Jared over there. Yes, good. Good. That helps us with the city. Thank you all very much. So any other corrections or revisions to the minutes? Then the minutes will be accepted as corrected. Thank you very much, Ramon. Hopefully it'll go smoother next week, next month. There won't be any lost minutes. According to our city Department of Planning and Development, we have a new order of operation, and that is that they request that we now take comments from our guests up front rather than at the end of the meeting. Guests are requested to limit their conversation to 3 minutes. And I know first on our agenda is our friend Sue Freeling. So Sue, you wanted to talk about the farmers market?
Yes, I noticed that in Lincoln Park, they do a lot to create sort of theater. And I was thinking that we should do that too. I don't know what we could do, but Wendy Williams in her youth used to run exercise classes. She's probably beyond that now, but she might know of somebody. And I was thinking maybe 57th Street Books would like to have a distanced book reading that would get them sort of into the neighborhood, and anything else that we could come up with. That I think people will go to those things as well as to, and then buy food at the farmers market. That anything you can do to sort of drag people in would be good. That's all. I'm sorry.
No, that's terrific. Thank you.
Welcome.
For the ideas. Brandon, you've got all those?
Yeah, I do. And to your request, Ms. Freeling, so you know, we are in the planning phase, and I'll give some updates on where we are with the farmers market. But that is absolutely a part of our plan. We are working closely with one of the SECC's program departments, the Arts and Cultural Capital Lab. We will have a table representative there so that there will be opportunities for artist presentations, as well as working with Creo and Amy there to get ideas around some of the community representative programming that can be brought in as well. So that is a part of our plan. So you're getting a little ahead of us, but we're right there on the same page.
We want it to succeed.
Yes.
So are there additional comments that any of our guests would like to bring in front of the commission this morning?
Yeah. Hi, good morning, George, and good morning.
Please go ahead.
Yep, thanks, George. Just want to say firstly, thank you for the continued partnership with the SECC and the strong financial position that I see the SSA is in. I think that's in due in part to the good combined leadership and collaboration between the SSA and Diane and Brandon's leadership. The only thing I wanted to bring to attention was that around the continued conversations around the TIF, I know it's still evolving. I saw some of the discussions in the Hyde Park Herald, so look forward to seeing movement and progress so that not only SSA, but SECC can be a partner in those ongoing conversations, both Alderman King and Harrison's office. Thank you.
Very good. And Jordan, we should say thank you too for all the work you've been doing with your team down along the lakefront. I heard that cleanup over at Promontory Point was a big success over the weekend. So thank you as well for all of that hard work. Makes a difference. Any other additional comments from our guests? If not, the next item on our agenda is the financials. I don't see Isaac here, so I assume that Brandon is going to be reporting on our financials for us. So Brandon.
Yep, let me bring up our report here. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
All right, let me just bring you guys here so I can see you as well. All right, so these are the financials for the Special Service Area 6-1 through the end of March 2021. We did receive a pretty large disbursement from the city for our first disbursement of 2021. We're currently we received a $122,670. I'm sorry, let me go to the cover or balance sheet because that'll give us a breakdown. So we currently stand at $168,728 in the account. That is inclusive of the $122,000 that we received from the city, as well as our carryover dollars.
Brandon,
yes.
Interrupting. Could you blow up the screen just a little bit? Could you?
Yes, I can.
Yes, thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So again, that $168,728 is compared to $136,976 in 2020, $31,753,000 change. That again is a function of our carryover as well as the new disbursements that have been received. So going forward, and again, tax collection as of this month is at $122,670 compared to our budget and expected levy for the 2021 year of $273,776. And we'll go through, and again, these are just yearly totals thus far through March. In customer attraction, including special events and website, we spent $7,835. Public way aesthetics, which is mostly landscaping now, at $7,821.25. I'll also share the budget tracker so that you guys can see where these numbers break down to for the month and in what cost categories again. Management, total of $4,800.14 have been spent, including payment of our audit, and then just standard administrative items of bookkeeping, rent and office utilities, and personnel, myself and Raymond, $11,773.14 for the first 3 months of the year.
Brandon, can
Yes,
you
ma'am.
increase the size a little bit, please?
I can.
Thanks.
All right. Again, right at $32,231 have been spent thus far this year. And I'll bring up our budget tracker just so you guys can see that.
Brandon, just before you do that, could you go
Sure.
back one step to the balance sheet?
Sure.
What is the $8,682 due to SECC?
I'm gonna have to check with Isaac on that. I know that our any due to SEC money was paid up last year, so.
No, the money that is for admin and personnel for the last 2 months.
Okay.
Like the transfer.
When is it paid?
He should be doing it monthly, but apparently it looks like it's 2 months.
Because I think we were very clear at our last meeting that we do not want that number to add up again like it did in the past. We want to make sure we stay on top of any debt that we owe to the SECC for your services. So
Yeah, it'll be changed in the April financials.
okay, tell Isaac to pay the bills. Thank you. Okay, now back to the budget tracker.
All right. Can you guys see this? Yes? Okay. So again, breakdown for 2021 thus far, pretty much same totals that we've seen. Year-to-date total for customer attractions right at 7,835. You can see those breakdowns for each month. Garbage collection is at 7,822. And nothing's been spent in any of these other spaces just yet. And of course, SSA management costs right at that 4,799, 4,800 was, I think, was the exact number that we have on the budget. So again, 32,228 has been spent thus far. And our projected levy for the year is right at $272,706. I apologize. I'll get this out to you guys as well. Normally in the meeting packet, the budget tracker is included. We will make sure going forward that that is included with the documents that you guys that get circulated the week before our meeting.
Question, Brandon.
Sure.
Under the garbage remediation, that
Yes.
category there, here it's only showing garbage remediation, but in the previous spreadsheet, you were showing tree removal.
Yes, there is a coding inconsistency with the system that gets reported to us through Isaac, and I think it's QuickBooks that's used there. We had some conversation about that last time, and just working to we have to get that coded properly. It's all in the same space though, that tree removal. There is no tree removal happening in SSA.
Okay.
That is the same amount that goes to Clean Slate. So that's just a coding error, and we'll get that cleaned up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And I did see your question as well, Mary, around the banking fees. I think that those are two separate fees. Those are the $1 that you mentioned in the email that you sent. I think that those are two separate items as well that are represented here in the SSA bank fees.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Nancy?
What exactly are we getting for the $2,000 a month that we're spending on the website?
The breakdown is right at 1,882. It's right around $1,800 per month. And that includes our social media management and management of the website for the SSA.
It just seems high to me.
Well, because it's 2-in-1, it is higher than we're used to seeing because it's all now out of 1.01. Also, keep in mind, we're doing some boosted campaigns to attract more customer footprint to the corridor, as well as website management is everything from the migration to adding in minutes to first site to news posts to making sure things are updated. We also have that directory. So there's several things that entail in that. We are happy to, in the future, share those estimates if you want to see them.
I think a lot of it actually is included in things like the social media, because every day I see multiple posts on both Facebook and Twitter promoting different businesses in the Hyde Park area. I know there are also monthly fees associated with our web hosting that factors into that. And then there is time, a large amount of time taken in updating those things that we're required by the city ordinance to provide to our website that we have not done on the past, so that we are having to play catch up to get that in place for the future. That includes things like the recordings of our Zoom meetings, which can take an hour to upload, having done that for a client of mine, as well as all of our past minutes and our operations and our RFPs and all that kind of stuff. So there is a fairly large amount of this background, just clerical work that needs to be uploaded to the website to make it in compliance with the city guidelines. More questions about our finances? If not, that's the natural segue into our next category, which is the upcoming audit. Brandon?
George, I did have one.
Oh, sorry, Charles,
question.
please.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. It took me a while to get unmuted. we're not doing a lot of spending right now. Are we gonna have to rush to do a lot of spending to accommodate the city when at the end of the year? Are we gonna be okay?
I think we will be okay. I think that after June, we will have a much better sense of where we're going to be able to spend money. That's just a gut level feeling. There's no assurances one way or the other, but I think after that we will have a better sense of how much we're waking back up as a neighborhood and as a community, and how we can realistically spend money going forward. And we do have, the finance committee does have contingency plans on things on which we can spend money that we want to spend money on. Remember, we have dedicated projects like the Lake Park Landscaping Initiative, which had almost $100,000 budget that we're simply sitting on right now at the request of the alderman until we figure out financing for all the various issues that are going on in the neighborhood. So I think we'll be able to spend down our money without any issues.
Thank
Seems
you.
odd.
George,
to have
if I-
spend money. Yes, Mike.
George, just to add that, historically, the first 3 months have been slow spend time for us, and that picks up really in April and going through the rest of the summer. So that, being this, spending a little amount of money this time of year is really nothing out of the ordinary.
And to your point, Mr. Newsom, we've got some of the larger ticket spend items coming up. We've got our spring florals. I'll speak to that, but the contract for that has gone through. That'll be happening twice this upcoming year, as well as continue, spend on the mediation, and we've got summer programming with the market as well. So all of that will still be happening.
And if not already released, the power washing RFP will be going out if it's not already on the website. So that will be spent probably in June. We're thinking June and then again in September, October.
Yay, spend some money. All right, then Brandon, you want to continue on into the audit report?
Sure. 2020 audit is due to the city on May 3rd. We are in the final stages, working and finishing up with our the audit company we are working with, Bedford and Brown. We were speaking probably in the last 48 hours, just kind of finalizing what items they are still needed to complete. So we should have a completed draft of that, I'm thinking, by the end of this day. Just a few outstanding documents that we have to get into them, but we are on pace to submit that and get that in before the deadline of next Monday.
So now this raises an issue because the audit needs to be approved by the commission. And we were hoping that we would have it ready for this meeting. It's my understanding there's some paperwork that is from the city that is not where it should be. So we're not sure if we ever received it from the city, and we're still working on coming up with it. We will be able to come up with it, I think. But that means that we will need to schedule a very short special meeting between now and May 3rd, in which we can vote to approve this audit. So I talked with Diane earlier this morning, and we agreed that probably the wisest time to do it would be Monday, May 3rd in the morning. If that is, if a quorum of commissioners would be available, this will be a 15-minute meeting at most, as far as we can anticipate. Is that workable for most of the commissioners? I'm thinking probably something like 10 o'clock or 10:30 or 11 o'clock, whatever.
I have a class from 10 to 11. So I could make it at any time after that.
After 11?
After 11 or after.
Any other feedback from any of the commissioners? I take it silence is consent.
So it'll probably be around our regular time.
Yeah,
11 o'clock.
let's schedule for 11 o'clock on
Okay.
Monday, May 3rd. We'll send out a Zoom invite. This will be very short. It does require a quorum. So we need to have at least 5 of our 9 commissioners be there so we can vote. So please do your best to attend. If you cannot, let me know so I can make sure in advance that we will have a quorum present. So that will again be to vote on approving the audit for submission to the city, which is due on Monday, May 3rd. So please try to join us for that meeting. Next item on the agenda then is our, we decided it would be helpful to have something that was just called program updates, that would just be a chance for Brandon and Diane to bring us up to date on what's going on with the various programs that the commission supports. So Brandon, you want to fill us in?
Yep. So again, to Diane's point, on the RFP side, two that'll be upcoming. Spring florals has been completed, so you guys will see planters at around mid-May. Spoke to our contractor, Clarence David, last week, and we are on schedule. The florals are being picked, and they will be installed in the planters sometime in mid-May. The winter florals the summers will come out and the winters will go in probably around September. So we are set in that way for 2021. Additionally, there will be a power washing RFP released, and that'll be coming up again, to Diane's point, probably in around June.
Can you tell us what areas are covered by the power washing?
Yes, the power washing includes the entire footprint of the SSA, and pays particular attention to the most heavily trafficked areas, so 53rd Street and the corridors of Lake Park and 55th.
What about the viaducts?
The viaducts are included as well.
Yeah, there have been a lot of comments circulating around about the state of the viaducts recently. I saw Mary had forwarded some to you from the Good Neighbors website, and particularly the one on 55th Street's been really in fairly bad, dirty condition for a while. So we'll talk about it in more detail in a moment. Go on filling us in on the programs.
Next is our, of course, Hyde Park Farmers Market. We have been working diligently to get that going, and are very excited about bringing that back. Of course, we had to forego it last year due to COVID. We have secured, of course, our location. Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson and the partners over at Hyde Park Bank. So we will be in the bank parking lot starting off June 13th is our official begin date for the market, and it'll be ending earlier than normal. So we're going until September, the end of September. We are currently in the stages of finalizing agreements with vendors. We put out at the beginning of the month applications for vendors. We've got a number of returning vendors that we're excited, of course, to bring back, and we've got some new ones as well that'll be coming in. We are also in the process of hiring a market manager that'll be on the ground throughout the summer in the markets. And we have some other finalization happening with marketing. So we've got an official logo that you guys will see, as well as some other items in the way of programming. So things are happening there. But again, kickoff date for the market is Sunday, June 13th. And again, we're very excited about the opportunity to bring that back to the Hyde Park community and what it'll bring.
What's the time?
The time will be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we will have an hour on the front end for setup and an hour on the back end. So the entire time that we'll be in the lot will be 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Are we going to have a ribbon cutting?
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, that's in the plans. Absolutely.
Yeah, so save the date for opening date, Sunday, June 13th at maybe around 10 a.m. is what we're kind of thinking. So save the date. Trying to work with the chamber on that, since they own the big scissors. And they'll provide the ribbons. We don't have to go out and buy a ribbon at a craft store now, not in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
All right, I'll keep going through the program pieces. This week, I participated in the 2021 SSA Forum. For you guys that aren't aware, that is an opportunity for all of the SSA program staff to participate in essentially a kind of connector meeting for all updates and things happening within kind of the SSA through DPD. So some of the points that were brought up, one thing, and we can speak through this separately, but it was a great opportunity to kind of see some of the direction and changes that'll be potentially happening. One, thing that came across was the move potentially from special service areas to bids for the city. That was a very interesting piece, as well as getting an understanding of some of the best practices that are happening with SSAs. So one of the things that came out is that SSA 6-1 was given the opportunity to kind of get some highlights based on our rebate program. So they did take a screenshot from our website and show that and kind of work through showing some of what we've done to support business owners in the corridor. There was also an opportunity for other SSAs to kind of speak to some of the other program pieces that have worked well for them in the past year. So this was the first one that we've done since COVID. It normally happens in person. That didn't happen last year. So this was my first opportunity to participate in the SSA forum.
Did you learn anything that we should be doing differently?
Oh yeah, I got definitely some best practices on process that I'm going to plan to implement going forward. Got some good information on the way the communication process happens, and yep, definitely will be bringing that with me as well.
Good. I'm glad you were able to attend. Mary, you're muted. There you go.
Yes. I have a question about the flowers.
Mhm.
You mentioned that the winter flowers will go in September, and I'm wondering if they'll survive the winter if evergreens go in that early. It's still kind of warm.
That's a good question. I believe that the florals that are presented and placed in are set up for colder weather. I can check with our contractor on that about the specific flowers that they use.
Traditionally, Brandon, they've been putting in the winter flowers in November, the very end
November.
of October, early November. Yeah, they leave the summer flowers in up until the beginning of October because they're good through warm weather. So
Okay, I'll get some clarity on that for you guys.
garden.
Thanks.
Good. Then Brandon, why don't you introduce our guest?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm seeing Mr. Curry on. Mr. Benny Curry has been charged with organizing some of the advisory councils happening within the 4th Ward. And we recently had a conversation. I want to say that was either the end of last month, the beginning of this month, Benny, George, myself, and Diane. And wanted to bring Benny on just to give you guys some information about some of the work that he's doing with the 4th Ward and some of the councils that he's organizing and some of the purposes behind them. So thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Curry. Floor is yours just on giving that update.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, I'm the chair of, we call it Go Forth Hyde Park. It's the advisory council for the 4th Ward portion of Hyde Park. And there are actually 6 of these councils throughout the ward, starting with the South Loop way up north, and there's Douglas, there's Grand Boulevard, there's South and North Kenwood, and of course, Hyde Park. And essentially what we are a group of volunteers in the community who, and because the alderman saw this as an opportunity to both build community, but to also build a mechanism for feedback, hopefully in real time, as she's trying to make decisions about things pertinent to the neighborhood, that we can flow that feedback. And so the setup is I'm the chair, we have a co-chair, secretary, and then there are committee areas of focus. There's block clubs. I have 2 co-chairs in place there. There's economic development. There's development, like real estate development, that is, education, public safety, and arts and parks. And we're almost up to speed. We have chairs in every space now except for public safety. I have some people that want to serve on that committee, but I need someone to chair that. The key to putting chairs in place for these committees is that you have to live in the 4th Ward footprint of Hyde Park, which is kind of tricky because that footprint is basically Lake Park to Woodlawn, 51st to 53rd, and voila. However, we do have a couple of chairs who don't live in the 4th Ward, but they work with entities that do. So for example, Julia Parson heads up the development committee, and she's a fellow board member with me at the Hyde Park Neighborhood Club, which is in the 4th Ward footprint because Nichols Park is a part of the 4th Ward. And then we have Eric Williams of the Silver Room, who I believe lives elsewhere in the 4th Ward, but the Silver Room is on the 4th Ward side of 53rd Street, and he heads up economic development. And so, you know, I was talking with George and Diane and Brandon about the fact that while certain people who are Hyde Parkers that want to get involved may not be able to chair a committee because they live in the 5th Ward part of the neighborhood, they can certainly serve on that committee. And we definitely need as many bodies as possible in that regard. And if you know anyone that lives in the footprint that has an interest in public safety, not named Rod Sawyer, because he was there, but for some reasons that I won't go into in great detail, he can no longer fulfill that function. We need somebody. So I'm here to try to recruit for that, but then just to make you aware that we are around. We have not had our formal coming out party yet, so to speak, but that will likely be a meeting, a Zoom meeting of some sort, probably with the alderman, probably maybe even talking about what she has in mind for 53rd Street and the TIF and all of that. But we don't have anything like that scheduled yet, but that's something that possibly could come about in the coming weeks.
How should people contact you if they're interested?
Oh, very good question. Very timely, because I just plugged in my email address for the advisory council into the chat. So if you got any thoughts, questions, or suggestions in particular, you can share that. And if you're interested for whatever reason in the other members of the advisory council for councils rather in the other parts of the ward, I can share that information with you as well. Marcellus Moore, for example, is a fellow member of the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. He's an attorney living in the Grand Boulevard area. He chairs that particular committee, or that council rather. And that's pretty much what I wanted to share. Again, you know, I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware and looking forward to as best possible working with some of you. I know Diane has already expressed a particular interest in infrastructure and in development, and we will definitely be enjoying her input.
And I'm trying to figure out if I have time to do parks, so.
Well, infrastructure is being headed up by David White, who is currently part of the Nichols Park Advisory Council and a longtime land steward of Nichols Park. So I'm excited to work with him and a couple others.
And I appreciate your suggestion for recruiting him. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Good. So if any of us are interested in getting involved in the 4th Ward Advisory Council, please contact Benny. He's given us his email address, and feel free to share it with people you know who you think would be good. I keep thinking, okay, if Rod Sawyer doesn't do it, maybe we could rope his wife Brenda into it. So she's good too. So
yeah, he's going to serve on the committee. He just won't chair it. So nuance.
Are there questions for Benny? Since we've heard from the 4th Ward, I noticed that we have Kimberly Webb with us from the 5th Ward. Kim, is there anything you want to add from the 5th Ward we should know about?
Yes. Hi, everyone.
Hey there.
Just wanted to let you know that we are continuing to work with the 4th Ward, especially regarding the TIF. And we will be having a joint meeting about the TIF on May 20th at 6 p.m. It's going to be, of course, a virtual meeting. We'll send you the link information. And I just want to make sure you guys know and put the word out about it. We're going to have someone from the city explain what a TIF actually is and does, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, as we all know. And then we'll segue into the aldermen saying what their 53rd Street vision is. And then, of course, we'll have Q&A. So just want to let you guys know about that. Also, the last meeting, there were questions about street sweeping. And Lanita Ross in the office, if she hasn't already sent the link to get all the street sweeping information, she is going to do so today. I talked to her a little bit before the meeting. And then also I heard concerns about viaducts. CDOT is checking out the viaducts as far as infrastructure is concerned, but we also have a new streets and sanitation superintendent. Ibrahim Oko used to be the alderman's assistant for 9 years, but we thought he was better suited as streets and sanitation superintendent. So he is taking special attention towards all the viaducts in the entire ward, including 55th, which is a major concern. So that's what I wanted to tell you guys. Thank
That's
you.
really good news.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you very much. That's great to hear about. And the meeting is scheduled for May 20th at 6 p.m. We'll all stay tuned for more details about that. And I believe tonight is the 5th Ward monthly meeting.
That's correct.
Great.
That's correct. Does everyone have, well, maybe I'll just send the information to you, Diane, and maybe you can make sure everybody else gets the link for the ward meeting tonight, if anybody's interested.
I feel like it's already in my inbox. A blast went out this morning.
Okay,
So I'll forward it out to everyone. Always check your junk mail sometimes too, if you know you're subscribed and you're not getting it.
thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
And I see, just like clockwork, Prentice is joined us. Prentice, anything else needs to be added to the 4th Ward?
Oh, yeah, sure. So thank you for my colleague Kim explaining the meeting we're going to have with the community on May the 20th at 6 p.m. to discuss TIF improvements. And she went down the agenda, so I don't need to go there. We will have a community meeting about Kenwood High School. There's a lot of recent improvements that we would like to share with the community and the updates about the planned Pedway building as well. This will be on Tuesday, May the 12th at 5 p.m. And we plan to have officials from CPS, Facility Services, to discuss. I'm confirming it now. Obviously, we'll have Kenwood there present, but we want to share with the community. A lot of things have been happening. As some people may have mentioned before, yes, somebody's put in the chat, Reverend Hill, yes, the meeting will be virtual. All the meetings I'm speaking of right now is virtual. So you'll be getting flyers no later than the end of the week for the 2 meetings. So people can share that in the community. But back to Kenwood, yeah, we want to make sure people understand how TIF funds are being used and what's been happening to the school. And then that will serve as a kind of a launching point for a broader conversation about TIFs in the community. We've seen, discussion about TIF, and we want to make sure we try to inform people and be available to answer questions about things they would like to address regarding TIF funds. This is kind of a amorphous concept to a lot of people, and it's not always explained clearly. We're going to do the best we can to make sure we're transparent about the process and create a better sense of understanding so we can move us forward together. So those are the 2 updates we have. Other update, I will say we will have a shredding event at Kenwood High School. I think that will be July the 17th. That's our newsletter. And we'll have shredding along with free electronic recycling and pharmaceutical destruction or recycling will be, or disposal, I should say, will be available at this event in July at Kenwood High School in the South parking lot. So those is my quick updates right now for the community. Unless anybody has questions for the 4th Ward office, anything I can address or resolve.
That's great. Everyone's pretty quiet. Ernest, you must be doing a good job, and Kim too.
Well,
We
if
appreciate
I just may come in, Prentice, I think those shredding events that the Alderman has are becoming very popular. So don't think about doing away with them.
I don't think we could. One thing people have let me know, they don't care about policy, they don't care about legislation that much. But if you do something to the shredding events, they will come for our heads. So
Yeah.
I will never, ever get rid of those shredding events.
When do we get an electronics recycling event? That's the one I'm waiting
Oh,
for.
it is the event. I just said they'll do electronic now too.
As in old computers. and-
Old computers, you still, George, have beta somewhere in the
Oh,
house?
God, I do. I
We
have.
will recycle that too at the event. All of that will be inclusive at the event in July.
That's great. I can't wait to get my notice for it.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get that soon. And send a newsletter we do every week. Hopefully you all have seen a change in our newsletter. We try to make it a little bit more informative and make sure it looks a lot nicer than it used to. And we're speeding up to make sure you have a weekly publication. And then in the future, in the next month or so, you'll see a monthly edition too. We just want to make sure that in the midst of this pandemic, where we're not in person, that we're doing more to be communicative about what's happening in the community. And I do want to share there will be a cleanup event at Washington Park this weekend. The Grand Boulevard Advisory Council has coordinated that. And then the South Loop Advisory Council, they'll be doing a cleanup in Grant Park. It was amazing. We had people across the community doing clean and green this weekend. I was everywhere from Washington Park to Hyde Park, Grand Boulevard, South Loop, you name it. On Saturday, it's beautiful to see people out and about. So we're happy that people are finally coming out and getting involved. And if people would like to know more, they can email the office at Ward 04. I'll put it in the chat quickly. Ward 04 at cityofchicago.org. And I'm going to stop running my mouth unless there's anything else to ask of me for this meeting.
Prentice, Kim, thank you both for taking the trouble to come by. Benny, we really appreciate your coming over and all the hard work you're putting in. We look forward to seeing how successful you're going to be pulling all these groups together and making positive change in the neighborhood. Thank you all. Brandon, back to our agenda then. Next item on the agenda is the updates on commissioner applications.
Yes, real quick, the only thing, well, the most pressing thing I'll say is May 3rd is due date for ethics statements. So based on the information that we've gotten from Karen in the city, the only person that was outstanding was Commissioner Gutman, but I have reached out. I know that you sent us that you did file financial documents. I am just waiting for confirmation from Jennifer that you're all set. But other than that, you were the only one outstanding, and just want to avoid those fees. They are astronomical. I think it's $250 a day for the ethics statement fee. So yeah, definitely want to make sure that we avoid that. So that was the only update though on the ethics statement for the commission apps.
Everyone who's a commissioner should have a mental note that there are two ethics statements that you have to file every spring. There's the City of Chicago ethics statement and the Cook County Statement of Economic Interests. So make sure you can go in and log into both of them and make sure you filed your statements on time. You can actually go and pull up your old, I checked mine yesterday just to make sure I had filed both of them on time. So do not let those things slip past you. That's the one requirement to be a good commissioner. So, all right, I believe that fairly completes our agenda. That would take us to the point where we will open the floor to comments from the commissioners. So is there anything that any of you would like to bring up? Mary.
I just wanted to follow up about the Clean Slate's schedule of cleaning. When does that happen?
Clean Slate comes out on Monday and Friday in the footprint.
Okay, and do they clean under the viaducts?
The viaducts, I believe,
That was going to be my question because I requested a copy of our agreement with them, which I read through, and nowhere in there does it mention the viaducts. It mentions sidewalks, but it doesn't specifically say the viaducts. So I was actually going to contact Brandon after the meeting and ask him to contact Clean Slate and find out whether they do pick up trash within the viaducts. They do the alleys and they do the sidewalks, but the viaducts are never mentioned.
Because it seems like, at least on 53rd Street, that it's not happening. There's a panel from an automobile that's been there for at least a month, if not way more than that.
And I think
among other things.
You could ask them for an addendum to the contract as well. If they want to be specific and say, oh, it wasn't in there, we should ask for an addendum and make sure it's done.
Yeah, because this is an ongoing issue.
Right, and people throw food down under the viaducts all the time. I don't know why, who they're trying to feed, but there's food often on the sidewalks.
We pick up daily at our church and we're still finding loads of stuff. So I think it, even with assistance, it's a serious problem because they're just like, we got scooters on, it's just like loads of stuff. I don't, it's sad.
We will continue this and try to clarify where we stand with Clean Slate, the viaducts. I think that's a major concern for a lot of us. Other comments from the commissioner?
Mary, did you get a chance to check out that automobile panel, that antique art or something?
Well, it's a pretty maroon color.
Oh, I did have something, George, about,
Charles.
do we need to get started on 53rd and Woodlawn sooner than
Yes,
later?
yes, you're on my to-do list. You
Okay.
know, I've actually been taking pictures of that corner so we can talk about it. So
Great.
you'll be hearing from me shortly.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Mary?
And along the similar lines from what Charles just said, had we developed a committee that was supposed to be looking at programs or something? We had talked about it at one of the meetings that there was going to be a committee to look at how to spend money.
Yes, and I believe, Mary, you are the sole
That's what I was worried about.
And I am, you know, Brandon and I are happy. If it's me, you and Brandon, hey, it's me and Brandon. But
Okay.
we welcome others to join us because we want involvement and input in how programs are delivered. And that's very similar. Greg said, sign him up. That's very similar to how we do some of the SCCC board committees, is we have, you know, our certain structure. So that way we take a look at all the different areas and get more feedback. So this will be fantastic. We're going to get that scheduled this week so we can have it, get it on the books for next week or the week after, but we'll get it out this week to find a time.
That
I
means
see
Mary
Mary
got
and I
deep
see Greg.
pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that again, Mr. Newsom.
You
I
might,
said that means Mary got deep pockets. So,
you might want to
Oh, no,
circulate,
no.
you
Get deep ideas.
yeah.
Deep ideas, right?
might want to circulate the information about the meeting to the entire commission and see who wants to volunteer to show up. Just, you know, have it on our schedule, knowing that it's available. Several of us might like to join and participate, but we'll leave it in Mary and Diane and Brandon's hands to be in charge.
No, and Greg too.
And Greg, I see.
I don't need to be in charge of it. I'm just happy to participate.
Good. Other comments from the commissioners? All right, so then our next meeting will be a special meeting on Monday, May 3rd at 11 o'clock that we will keep very short with the sole purpose of approving the audit for submission to the city on the same day. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is May 25th at 11 o'clock. Still, I'm assuming at least another 1 or 2 months worth of Zoom meetings before we can even contemplate going back in person. So if there's no further business and no objection, I think we will adjourn. Thank you all for taking the time to come out this morning.